Listen, I saw this meme and it dragged me. Okay, so it was this person sweating, hovering over two buttons, and one button said, stay the same and be miserable. And the other said, make the change and be scared. And I thought, why is this my entire daily life? But for real, isn't that what we do when God calls us to shift? We panic, we stall, we overthink ourselves into stagnation. We treat change like it's punishment. But what's really punishment is staying stuck. That's what's quietly draining us. Now let's talk about that. But before we dive in, I want to take time to welcome you to Transition Tuesdays, a space where we face life's hard places with faith, courage, and boldness. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you've been watching for a while, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today. Now, today we're talking about why being scared is keeping you stuck and how to reframe the fear of change so you can move forward. Now, let's be real. Change can feel like chaos. It interrupts our rhythms. It rattles our confidence. It can leave us second guessing everything. Now, maybe you're right in that situation today. Maybe you're in the middle of like a career shift, a pivot that feels super risky, or maybe you're being led to make some change that you know is just going to shake up everything familiar. Or maybe you just feel like something inside is shifting and you're trying to ignore it because you know you really don't want to start again. Well, it's okay to admit that change is scary, but here's something I want you to consider. Change is not a threat. It's a signal. It's a signal that growth is underway. It's a signal that God is doing something new. See, we often equate change with loss of control, loss of comfort, loss of identity. But God often uses change to realign us, not to what's convenient, but to what's true, to what's next, and to what's Him. One of my favorite verses in the Bible, it speaks to this. It's Romans 8:28. And it says, and we know that all things work together for good to those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose. See, that all things that are working together for good, that includes the hard shifts, the unexpected changes, the pivots. Now, the things that make us feel like the ground is shaking beneath us, those are included too. So when you experience unexpected change, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Like I often do, let's be honest. Try asking, what is this trying to shift in me? Because here's the truth. Change is scary, but so is staying stuck in a rut. Change may feel risky, but nothing changes if you don't. See, as humans, we tend to think that if we can avoid change, then we can avoid pain. But sometimes avoiding this is the very shift that is keeping us in cycles that no longer serve us. See, I can remember being in a cycle simply because I didn't want to make a change. At the time, I was in a relationship with this guy, and it was just comfortable enough that I didn't want to change. I didn't want to shake things up. Now, was I happy? No. Was it healthy? Not really. But I had come to realize this was not the person for me, but somehow the fear of change, the fear of being single again, the fear of having endless Friday nights and a ton of free time with no prospects in sight, starting over in the dating pool, you know what? Somehow that seemed more painful than the discomfort of staying in something that didn't fit. So guess what I did? I stayed in it. And instead of leaving, I lingered, stuck in emotional limbo. And over time, guess what? The discomfort didn't just linger, it grew. The unhappiness, it deepened. And the feeling of just being out of alignment, that increased until one day I just reached my breaking point. And I looked at myself and I looked at the version of me that was shrinking to stay comfortable. And I said, I can't do this anymore. And I finally ended it. I love this quote by Tony Robbins. It's something that speaks to me, and it says that change happens when the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of change. Now, perhaps you're feeling that today, that resistance to change. Well, let me tell you, that's a sign. It's that tension that is going to lead to your transformation. So what does it actually look like to walk through change well? Well, let's say maybe you're in the middle of a career change, or you're wanting to change your career. Maybe it's God nudging you to something new, but it feels so uncomfortable to have to reinvent yourself, to have to build new contacts in a new industry, or move to a new position. Or maybe you're stepping into a personal change, stepping into a new role, setting a new boundary in a relationship, having a hard conversation. Maybe you're moving to a new city. Whatever the change you're walking through, I want to give you a few things to keep in mind. First of all, don't rush clarity, nurture it. See, clarity takes care, not speed. You don't need to grab clarity. You need to grow your way into clarity. So don't put pressure on yourself or allow others to put pressure on you to have all the answers. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be in a position to hear. Clarity comes in layers. Pause long enough to listen, to pray, to pause, and take it one obedient step at a time. Don't rush into clarity, nurture it. The second thing I want you to remember when you're facing change is to create space for what's new. See, change requires margin. It might mean reworking your schedule, adjusting your expectations, releasing things that no longer align with where you're going. See, when I was moving into a new season, which was just recent for me, I had my mom move in with us, and it was a place where I needed to create more space for her. I needed to create literal space in our home. I needed to create space in my schedule, in my priorities, in my calendar. It took me moving things around to create margin for that change. But you know what? She had to make some changes too. She had to create space too for her new surroundings, her establishing new rhythms and getting used to our family too. So when you are wanting to step into something new, you have to create space for it. Where do you need to create margin for something new to enter into your life? Now, the third thing is to anchor yourself to identity, not outcome. See, you are still called even when the path is unclear. You're still equipped even when the old tools don't work anymore. And you are still significant even when you're in a season of change. Your identity isn't tied to what the results are or what you do. It's tied to who God says you are. I want you to anchor to that when you're in a season of change. The fourth thing I want you to remember is to choose courage over comfort every single day. Practice taking small steps each day that make you feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's talking to your boss about a promotion or taking on more responsibility. Maybe it's choosing to cut up your credit card or hire a health coach. Whatever that change that you need to take that step, the more comfortable you get at getting uncomfortable, the higher you raise your courage quotient. If you will take one faithful, courageous step each day, that's how alignment in your life will happen. It'll happen for your dreams, for your relationships, for your future. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Choose courage over comfort. See, here's the good news. When change comes, so does new grace. Grace to make hard decisions, grace to grow, grace to release, and grace to rise. See, you're being equipped to do what you could not do before the change. Think of a change that you need to make. Think of it right now. Get it in your mind's eye. In fact, I want you to do one other thing. Drop it in the comments right now so I can stand in agreement with you that you are going to make this change. So do you have that in your mind, the change that you need to make? The one deep down that you know, it kind of gets your butterflies flying, makes you a little uncomfortable, but you know if you make this shift, it is going to change everything? Okay, as you think about it, I want you to keep this in mind. You're about to walk in new authority. You're going to operate with deeper wisdom. You're going to move in greater alignment with your purpose. When you make this change, everything is about to change. So do it afraid if you need to, but better yet, let's talk about how you can reframe your mindset so that you cannot be stuck or scared to make this change. So when anxiety and resistance is coming against you, when you're thinking about that change and you're feeling a ton of anxiousness, I want you to pause and ask these 3 questions. What is God trying to align in my life through this change? Second, what old thing is being made new? And third, what version of me is he calling forward? See, if you can answer those questions and just pause and think about those things, what is God aligning? What old thing is being made new? And what version is he calling forward? Man, your faith is going to rise. Those answers are going to bring you clarity and certainty. See, fear thrives in uncertainty, but faith thrives in agreement with God's word. And here's what God's word says. In 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind." Sweet friend, don't fear change. Face it with faith. Let it stretch you. Let it teach you. Let it shape you into who you're becoming. So right now, I want you to take a deep breath with me. Let's take a deep breath. And I want you to shake off the fear. Think about the chains and say, I'm shaking off the fear of that change. And then today, I want you to walk forward into that change, not with all the answers, but with the peace that you are equipped with, a spirit of love, power, and a sound mind needed to courageously conquer any change. You got this, my friend. I hope this message blessed you. I hope it encouraged you to step out into change. And if you were blessed by it, I'd love if you do a few things for me. First, share this with a friend who's maybe facing a change of her own and she needs hope and encouragement. Share it with her. And then drop a comment below. I want to know what's one thing that you learned from this message that you're going to do to go after change. And then lastly, I want you to encourage you, if you need more tools to face change, I have a free resource for you. It's a brand new one. It's called the Ultimate Life Transition Checklist. It's a powerful checklist that will help you process and plan for any big life change. You name it, a move, marriage, a new child, adoption, whatever it is. Click the link in the show notes. And then don't forget, if you have not subscribed so you never miss a Transition Tuesday. And wherever this week finds you, remember, God's not just getting you through the transition, he is transforming you in it. I'll see you next Tuesday. Until next time, grace for the journey, my friend.